Today we learn all about the business of running a successful restaurant. Today on the show we've got Rick Shew. He is a good buddy of mine for so many years now, and he's had a lot of experience in the restaurant world in addition to the acting and being in front of the camera world, which is where he and I first met. He's been deep into restaurant management, restaurant ownership, and he's bringing all of that expertise now to restaurants and helping them transform their businesses. You know, taking those things that are just not working or maybe just need to be a little bit better and bringing an outside perspective that helps them just change things that they just wouldn't have time to change themselves or even see and notice themselves. So it's amazing ability that he has. He's got a great way that he goes in and does it, and his story is just awesome. So let's dive in with Rick Shew. Rick Shew, welcome to the show.
Jason Croft, how are you, buddy?
Oh my gosh.
What's going on?
What, 18 years in the making?
18 years in the making, all the way to 2017, so we could wear our Ray-Bans together on camera.
That's right. Sponsored by
Ray-Ban.
Needs to be.
And Starbucks.
Bing. Man, I am so glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, man. It's great to be here. Congratulations on this show, by the way.
Well, thank you.
It really is. It's great.
I'm having a ball.
I feel out of place. Some of your guests are so interesting and fabulous. Most of them, all of them are. And then here I am.
Phenomenal people. And
so
whatever.
Who canceled on you?
Whatever.
What CEO canceled on you? What am I?
Man, who could I get at the last minute? Okay, truth is, I just saw Rick on the side of the road. and I threw him in the car.
So we'll work for soup.
No, I really want to. I've been following, what you've had going on from acting where we first met.
Yeah, you were the director of photography on Falling Hard.
1999.
1999, which this is still a good movie. It's a good flick.
Matt did a good job with that.
It's a good flick.
So yeah, that started all this, and then following your whole world in the restaurant side of things, and now you're doing your own podcast.
Once an actor, always a waiter.
So it's a natural fit.
Might as well turn that waiting tables into something.
Yeah, that will pay.
Right.
So right now, I really want to dig into that restaurant side, because that's something that I have. I mean, I waited tables for years, so I have some insight there. But from managing and running and the true business side of it,
sure.
I don't know a lot about, but I'm fascinated about it.
Most don't.
Even the ones doing it?
Even the ones that have been in business for 20 years, which is where I come in.
Exactly. So, yeah.
I'm kidding.
Tell me what you're doing right now, though.
So, right now, as you know, 25, 30 years of restaurant experience, everything from, you start off as a waiter and bartender, and it gets in your blood, and then you're looking to start a career because your acting thing didn't quite take off like most actors don't. Their dreams don't, their ambitions. But anyway, so I'm like, man, I love the restaurant business. Everything about it. I love the energy. I love food. I love beverage. And it just, I don't know, Jason. It's one of those businesses that once it gets a hold of you, it just becomes ingrained in your DNA. And I know that sounds maybe a little cheesy, but I mean it just really does. And it's a cultural thing too, and I'm addicted to it.
It's amazing how close you become with those folks like that you worked. It's very similar to film, I think. I think it's something that
absolutely.
If it locks into you because it's crazy hours. It's
a lot of the same personalities, dysfunctional, crazy people. I'm kidding.
It is.
I'm kidding. I kid us. But I've had busboys that started working for me when they were 14 years old, and then the next thing you know, they're 10 years later, they're kitchen managers, making a serious salary and running a kitchen and coming up with creative food items, and then their kids growing up, and you have servers that work for you through college, and then they go to grad school, And then they graduate grad school and they can't take a job because they make too much money bartending for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Exactly.
I've got this apartment and this car payment I've got to make. I'm making all this money bartending. But no, it is, all joking aside, it is seriously it's a culture thing, it's a family thing, and I love it. So what I'm doing now is I still have my ownership of my bar and
Nickel and Rye?
Nickel and Rye, and my partners are running that, and they're doing great. I don't really run it. I don't run it anymore. My partners took that over on the operation side, but it will always be my baby.
Oh yeah.
Nickel and Rye will always be my baby. So I'm actually looking for a new place right now, just because I'll always be a restaurant guy. I've got a partner. We were with brokers all morning, in fact, but my real primary focus is restaurant consulting.
Awesome.
And so I have big and small clients. I have clients I'm doing things that are comprehensive and take months. Others that I might do something that takes a day or two. It just depends. It runs the spectrum of, if you have a restaurant and you have a problem, I want to be like the fixer-upper guy. I'm not the restaurant bar. You know the show Bar Rescue.
Oh,
I'm not that guy, right? I'm not coming in taking a dire place and saving it. I'm coming into an establishment. In fact, I have a saying, and I think I'm going to butcher my own quote here, but it's like, my motto is, I'm here to help make your restaurants a little better than they already are. I'm not here to try to, if you have something that's in bad shape, I'm not really your guy. That's somebody that needs to move in. And
you're not coming in to
take it over and right.
I'm just gut the place.
Yeah, I'm just here to say, hey, listen, you're in these four walls every day. There's a lot of little things you're probably not seeing. Let me be the guy that comes in and I'll be the eyes and ears of that checklist of 50 to 100 things that you're missing because your staff is calling in sick, your heater's going out, your kitchen guys don't show up, your food truck comes early, or orders are screwed up, or whatever,
And you've been in the trenches with all that.
Sure.
You were at Kirby's Steakhouse for a long time,
yeah,
right?
Almost 15 years with Kirby's, and I spent 9 of those years in upper management. I was their director of training and marketing, and I was the director of operations right-hand man, and then the corporate executive chef was his left-hand man, and the three of us were one hell of a team. Yeah, we really were.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so those, and in fact, the Kirby's guys are my partners on Nickel and Rye.
Oh, great.
So
okay.
And
that's, you talk about a battleground training, like going through.
Oh goodness!
In the trenches, you've seen so much, and you've seen the gamut that allows you to come in, like you say, with that outside perspective. Because what's a typical restaurant owner, a manager? They're sitting there. What do they have for their day? 1,000 things they've got going on.
You walk in the door. Here's the restaurant business. You say, okay, I usually get there. I'm just going to pull this up. This is a place not open for lunch, assuming. I usually get there around noon. Today I'm going to get there at 10. I'm going to get there 2 hours early to get some work done. And then by the time everybody gets there at noon, I'll be caught up on invoices, paperwork, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what happens when you get there at 10? The Cisco, Benny Keith, whatever food distributor you're using, they drive by, they see your car, they know you're there, they go ahead and show up and they ring your doorbell, all right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the liquor reps. Somebody from Republic Beverage or whoever you're getting your wine from sees your car and says, ooh, I'm going to go by and see if they want to taste some wine. Then the phones are ringing. You're like, I'm going to let it go to voicemail because it says no one is there till noon. Then you're looking at it going, but am I going to miss a reservation if I do that? I got to get the phone. And then you're just in it anyway, right? So it is nonstop, and you never can get caught up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put my sunglasses back on because we're in Texas heat, and it is sunny and bright, man.
See, I don't even pretend.
And I'm putting them on just as we're going under a bridge here.
So yeah, there's no chance for that. There's no breather. There's no chance to even look around and go, what could be going wrong? You may see all the symptomatic things,
right?
But there's no time to look into anything deeper. And so that's where you come in.
Right. And so often, like with my clients, a lot of times the owners are there running it. They're not owners that are living in their Hawaiian beach house, right? And then their general manager is taking care of the restaurant for them or whatever. That's not my client. My clients, typically the owners are there in the trenches and they're running it. they might have 1 or 2 locations, maybe 3. They might even have a general manager, and they're dividing their time up going between their stores, but they are in it, right? And they're just trying to figure out day-to-day stuff. And they know that their food cost is messed up. They know their food cost is 40%, but they don't even know where to begin to try to fix it because they don't have a second to breathe. And they can't keep kitchen staff, and so they're having that staffing issue. And so every time they sit down and try to do an analysis of what's going on with my food cost or liquor cost or whatever, they're having to help prep because there's a shortage of kitchen people.
Right.
They're having to train new people. They're having to. It's just constant.
And it's 7 days a week.
Oh my gosh! Well, am I looking for a new place again? I'm kidding. Because it's in my blood. But yeah, that's where I come in, and I genuinely say, I'm here to help. That's it. I'm here to help, and I can, I try to do a little bit of everything.
Cool.
So go ahead.
Well, and I love what you said, that some places you come in and it's a day or two and problem solved, and other places it's a longer extended thing. I like that because you don't come in there with a preconceived anything, right? Like, you don't have your agenda like, well, I have this 8-week process that I take everyone through, and
it is. And here's my mission statement. And,
right. You're genuinely going in there with restaurant eyes, but fresh ones,
right?
And saying, okay, what am I seeing here? Being the fly on the wall and seeing all this and be able to break that down, and then from there, you can go through some of those systems and things that you do have. So what are those things when you see, or give me some examples that you've sort of helped people with?
Sure.
In the past, like food cost, or
so sometimes it's something as simple as menu engineering, going in and looking at their menu and saying, okay, first of all, when's the last time you raised your prices? Because I promise you, like, not everything stays the same.
And your costs
gas goes up. Beef is out of control. Whatever. Certain fish you can't get at certain times of the year, so it becomes more expensive. And so there's a lot of that where we look at a menu and say, one of the reasons your food cost is out of whack is because you're not charging enough. And that's, some people, hey, I don't want to raise my prices. I'm like, well, everybody else is raising prices around you. Right?
They're charging you more. So,
Cisco Foods or Benny Keith Foods or whoever you're using is charging you more for that food because it's costing them more to get it to you.
Yeah.
The product's costing them more. Gas is more expensive right now, what have you. You have to be adaptable. It's a business. You're not there just to give things away or make things cheap for people. You're there to give a fair and competitive price with great service and great food.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to gorge a customer, ever. But you know what I do want? I want to keep my doors open.
Right.
And I want to open maybe another restaurant.
And do everything that you can to have that experience. Because if it wasn't the experience, people would stay at home.
Listen, if you're making 20%, like it's just your net sales 20%. If you sell $1,000 or you sell $100, simple math, and you profit $20, you are rocking it out more than 95% of the restaurants.
Really?
It can be a 10 to 12% swing on that. Yeah, absolutely. It's the margins are low. It takes a lot to make $1. So you have to know how to utilize your product and your time to make sure that you are making those margins. Because if you're not making 10, 12, 13%, then you aren't making anything.
Right.
Then you've just got a restaurant to say you have a restaurant.
Right.
And you'll never be able to leave it as an owner because it's a perpetual thing and it's just sitting there. And so a lot of what I try to do is with menu engineering is go in and say, we need to restructure this menu, that it's a little sexier, maybe a little bit more, enticing in terms of the way it's formatted and how to highlight certain items that should be highlighted, put a box around or what have you. It's also about what are you charging and what's popular. Have you gone through and looked at what we call a PMIX? It's what your sales are every month per item. Do you ever look at that and look at your menu? When's the last time you made that comparison and said, I haven't sold lamb chops in 2 months. So they're still on the menu. You have lamb chops back there? Are they frozen? They're probably not any good.
Yeah.
Right. So even if you do sell them at this point, they're not great. Plus your kitchen guys aren't even used to making them, so they're probably going to screw them up. Especially if there's a sauce that comes with it that doesn't even come with anything else. They're like, oh yeah, how do I make that cognac pepper sauce? I don't know. Right. Right.
Right.
I don't know. I don't remember they're out there trying to make, and that kind of stuff happens all the time. So a lot of that is what I call menu engineering, and that's fun because it'll help them make more money, just because we'll make sure their prices are appropriate. because this blows my mind. And and I say this, and I don't mean it to be rude, but just so often restaurant people they don't even know what things cost sometimes.
Because again, there's no time to.
They don't.
Somebody's not dedicated to just.
And they're passionate restaurant people. They just have never owned a restaurant before, and quite frankly, a lot of times people think it's easy.
Sure.
I was a good waiter in college. I'm a good cook.
Right.
Yeah, I know how to make a mean martini. You come to my house when I'm hosting, man. I'll do blue cheese stuffed olives. I'll have the perfect little ice crystals on top.
Right. I should own a bar.
Yeah, I should own a bar. I should own a restaurant. And God bless those people, and they're great. And oftentimes they end up doing well, but they don't realize sometimes that it is a business.
Well, and I think that's why it's interesting for me, to have you on the show and to talk through this business side of things, because, and for my audience, even if they're never going to go near, starting a restaurant or anything like that, those kind of lessons are so applicable across numerous industries. I mean, how many people are like, oh man, I know how to make websites. Great, I should own an agency,
Right. Right.
And that's just
Right.
night and day, right? Because then there's the business of having an agency and now a team that does website, and so it's very, very similar.
My cousin's husband has been very successful in the medical field, and he's told me, he's spoken candidly. He's like, I know some of the most brilliant doctors, neurosurgeons, physicians, whatever on earth, and he said, and then they leave their hospital that they work for or whatever to open their own practice, but they don't know anything about the business side.
Yeah.
They don't know that it's right. And so those things are not mutually inclusive. Mm-hmm. There are great chefs that don't know how to do food cost. They don't know how to manage. They don't know how to make a proper kitchen schedule.
And
they don't even know how to be a good line cook. They're just badass at making food.
Right. And in an ideal situation, they'd be allowed to just do that.
Sure.
And someone else.
Absolutely.
This, and this.
Yeah. If you have a lot of money over your head and you're part of some big conglomerate corporate structure or just some eccentric multi-millionaire that wants to have a cool restaurant in Chicago, some speakeasy place, and they're going to just be a chef making $100,000 a year, just focus on just the making the food. That's great. And if you land one of those gigs, you won the lottery.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not the real world. So there's a lot of menu, and then outside of menu engineering, it can be, little things like the bar is a big emphasis for me. If you have a bar, and you're, I'll give a secret away right now to anybody listening. If you have a bar and your liquor cost is out of control, I bet one of the first places you can look is your bartenders. I'm looking at the camera now.
Yeah.
But it's not about them giving drinks away to friends, although that certainly does happen. Mm-hmm. It's about not ringing as they go. It's sometimes the places that are the busiest are the ones that end up having the most issues when it comes to stuff like that. So in other words, I'm a bartender, right? Mm-hmm. And you're at my bar, and I say, hi, Mr. Croft, what would you like today? I'll have a vodka tonic, rum and coke, Bud Light, 2 shots of Tuaca, and I get it all to you. Okay, thank you. I've got a tab open. Cool. We'll go to the next guy. I'll have a gin martini. I'll have whatever. Okay, cool. Got it. This guy, I'll have a glass of Cabernet. I'll have this, and all of a sudden, then you go to the computer to ring it up. 10 minutes later, you're like, what the hell did that guy have again?
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember. And it's that right there. That is always, I find, if you can locate that problem, that will, if you can pinpoint that. If you have that issue, I promise you I could go in and probably find out that's a big part of it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a big part of it.
And that setup, I mean, how much is kind of doing just that? I mean, going in on a busy Thursday night and just hanging back.
Yes. I do that a lot for clients where I'll dress as a manager. I'll help run food out and kind of just blend in. That way I'm not standing around taking notes and look weird to your staff or customers. But let me come in and really watch. And sometimes it's little things too with your bar where I'll see a bartender make, you pour them in those tins, right? And you shake the tins, you drain the drink. They'll pour the vodka or the gin and they'll shake it, stir it, whatever. They'll drain it into a martini glass. Then they take that ice that's left over and they dump it because you know that they're going to pour a different liquor in that glass. And so they have to obviously dump it. And all of a sudden you watch it go in the sink and you go, whoa, was like 3 ounces of vodka that went in the sink because they're just drain, dump, and that dump was one
full shot,
maybe two more drinks, and there's a lot of that. Not ringing as you go, and over pouring in those kind of situations are big. Those are big ones.
Wow.
And then there's the theft aspect, but
sure,
that's the depressing part. You know,
which is also rampant.
It is. It is. You have perishable items. People are going to be eating your food in the back. They're going to be taking shrimp. They're going to be drinking drinks behind the bar. There's a lot of little things like that. Sometimes in this industry, this is hard to put on paper, but you just have to say, what is my threshold for that? If I say I will have zero tolerance to that happening ever, okay, good luck with that.
Right.
Right? Good luck with that. You're probably going to run into that some, and you have to just put a stop to it and just have a threshold of acceptance on it.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one, because if you're just militant, and then guess what? You're not going to have any staff ever. Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. Right.
From the other side of it,
ever.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I've eaten quite a bit at restaurant as I was waiting tables there. Like,
yeah, of course you did. Of course you're eating food in the back.
Yeah.
Of course a bartender sneaks a shot every once in a while, whatever. But a lot of that stuff comes down to liability stuff as well. Drinking's a little different because that should be a zero tolerance thing. But giving drinks away, that's just a bartender's going to do it. Let your bartenders give drinks away. Let them have a reasonable comp tab. Say to them, listen, there's going to be times you're going to buy drinks. Somebody new to the neighborhood, whatever, a business person that's come in, man or woman, whatever, that just moved here, or maybe it's a couple that just moved here. Welcome to the neighborhood. Buy them a drink. That's great.
Yeah.
Right. Write it down. Ring it in.
Create some regulars.
That we account for it. Write down who it was for and why. And also it's a cool accountability thing, because then you can look at it at the end of the week and look back on what I call the manager log of comps, and think of, hey, I really like that Paul and Susan that came in on Monday, just moved to the neighborhood. I don't think we need a welcome to the neighborhood drink every day for them anymore. We're done with that, right? Paul and Susan can pay for all their drinks now.
But when you can open up a dialogue like that, whether it's the comp drinks or these other issues, as a manager, owner to your staff, that's a huge
deal.
Yeah.
There's different cultures in different restaurants and different philosophies, and I certainly as a consultant have to be. I'm not trying to go in and change a culture.
Sure.
Well, sometimes I might be a little bit, right?
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe the culture is the problem, right? But that goes back. That comes full circle of the bar rescue person or just enhancing the place.
Yeah.
If I go in and it's just kind of a zoo and the inmates are running the asylum,
you just walk right.
And I have, and I'm going, oh my gosh, for me to even do anything here, I just look. Just fire your GM. I'm going to be your GM for 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm going to clean all this up. Of course, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's let me come in and let me work with that general manager. It's because a lot of it, bad management is oftentimes, or 9 times out of 10, bad ownership. It just is.
Yeah.
If you have a bad GM, it's maybe because you haven't. You've seen Office Space, right?
Right.
Remember, the Bobs were doing they were gonna fire Peter, the lead actor guy. Like, we just don't think you've pushed him enough. Say, I'm just not so sure about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to picture you as Gordon Ramsay. That's what I like to picture.
Gordon Ramsay.
You walking in just screaming at everybody.
Yeah, that's all it takes in the restaurant is just scare the hell out of everybody. Builds morale.
Exactly.
And then when it comes into training, then also a lot of what I can do is I'm very good at training people and pulling, just like a good director on a film or whatever, man, is pulling good performances out of people and encouraging them to be themselves, but yet follow under certain guidelines. Like, I want you to be you under this umbrella of rules.
Yep. And
oftentimes that gets lost in management. People try to make robots, or it's the other end. It's way too loose. Like, you got to have some kind of like this. Your manager's over there chewing gum and he's in jeans.
Right.
And everybody else is in. Yeah, and it's a steakhouse. Nothing wrong with jeans in certain concepts, but
yeah. But and so how much pushback do you get when you go through these?
So I will certainly would never name a client's name or a former client. There was a client that it was it was 2 people. I'll just leave it at that. And one of them just didn't like an outside point of view, and the other one did. One didn't. That's sometimes hard, and those sometimes are impossible to overcome.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're getting pushback and somebody's not working with you, it's not going to work, because it's not just about them working with you. It's like, I need you have to implement what I'm talking about, not me.
Yeah.
The staff's not going to listen to me.
Yeah.
They're going to listen to you. It's got to come from you, and then you either will trust my judgment or you won't.
Yeah.
I'm not a miracle worker, but I'm very good at it. And if I walk into a restaurant and I can figure out that there's 5 to 10 problems, I can likely fix them.
Oh yeah.
You know. So. Can't make it stop.
All right. Sorry.
That's a
little phone vibration there. Yeah.
Speaking of restaurants, the new Albernaise is going in right here.
Oh, very nice.
That guy right there he could be a consultant. Albernaise is probably one of the best front of the house people I've ever known. He has a remarkable talent. You go in once and he'll talk to you, and then 6 months later you come back and he'll say, "Mr. Croft, how's your YouTube thing going?" You're going, "How do you remember that? How do you remember that?"
Those people amaze me.
He's amazing. I'm a big fan of his on a lot of levels.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is another time I need one of the 360 cameras so people can see what we're seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Show the place.
Yeah.
So, now I lost my train of thought.
So I was.
My fault.
I was just talking about.
Getting pushback and things like that. People have to really buy into this for sure.
Right.
And it's so interesting.
And sometimes it's not. They have to buy into it. Sometimes some jobs I'm doing are things about marketing. Those are much easier. Because they're not buying it. It's not something they're implementing to their staff.
It's just something they need to do and they haven't been doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I like those clients. I'll do the social media. I'll do some guerrilla marketing for them. They'll knock on doors at hotels around and whatever. But
nice. So that is a component of it. That was actually what I was going to go to next. Is how much you help on that marketing side. That's again one more thing that they have to pile on their plate.
Sure. I was just met with 2 guys today that were like, "Man, we just don't know anything about marketing." And I said, "Here's just some free consultation for you. Go out in your parking lot and just turn in a circle slowly and look at everything around you. And what do you see?" Because right now where I was at, I would say those high-end apartments right there. There's a hotel down there. There's a couple of cool businesses over here. Have you invited these guys in for a happy hour? They have 20 employees over there. Host a happy hour for them. Go to those apartments over there and let's see if we can do some kind of Camden apartment appreciation thing for the tenants. Let's go to the hotel. Let's get to know those concierges.
Because that's one thing that's really what you've got as your power. You've got space. You've got these items that you can, almost give away at times on some of this stuff.
Right.
But it really is like, your foot traffic, those immediate people around you, those are your champions.
Yeah. So marketing is always tricky, and there's people that are experts at it. I always just look at it and say, well, in the restaurant business, let's do simple math like I talked about earlier, and let's say it's a 10% return.
Yep. So
if I do a $10 ad in a little local newspaper, which those don't exist, but I'm just doing simple math here. I'm a simple man, simple math. That ad needs to drive, create $100 in business to just pay for itself. All right. So
Gotcha.
so there's that aspect to it. Right. So a lot of times it's about how do you equate butts and seats to people in your restaurant. Years ago, my restaurant group that I was a part of, we had a billboard on 75. On Highway 75 in Dallas, major highway. It was a lot of money. It was thousands of dollars a month. This was before the days of the digital stuff, right?
Sure.
But you're looking at it going, wow, is that bringing in $80,000 in business a month? No, it's just not. So and so there's a lot of that too. So when you're doing guerrilla marketing and you want to host a happy hour for some people that have never been in your bar and you want to discount some drinks, give away some appetizers, man, that is like, is there a better way to equate butts and seats when there's literally butts and seats?
Oh, yeah.
Right? To do something like that, to build some goodwill.
So, we're talking about ad costs and what works and what doesn't. And yeah, the person, you take out that ad and observer, and the likelihood that somebody's going to come down, sit down at your bar and remember that they even saw it, much less tell you about it, the likelihood is really small. But it is important, I think, to figure out a way to track that ROI, to find some kind of trackable...
Did you say ROI?
Yeah.
It's return on investment.
Yes. Sorry. And to find some trackable piece to your advertising that's, mention this and get this or anything like that.
And, sometimes if you're McDonald's or whatever, you're getting your name out there. And that's a little bit different of a strategy where you just have so much money, but it's all just about branding.
Sure.
And how they determine that ROI that's above my pay grade. That's a different world than what I know.
Sure.
What I know are I hate using the term mom and pop places, but independently owned places.
Right, because it is that. I mean, the name dictates, the small diner in the middle of the country or something like that.
My client's the guy that has put payroll on a credit card more than once, right?
Yeah.
And built a business that way.
Yeah.
Not to say that McDonald's didn't start off that way at some point, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
they're still like that.
Well, and there's a way that what's great is that you have the experience with those folks and for those folks that you can come in and move the needle for them big time with some of those just key, hey, let's get these things done. These are the basics, man. You got to be getting this done, like food costs, like some marketing.
Jason, you just hit the nail on the head. The majority of what I do is one-on-one stuff, man. Yeah. People will say there's sometimes a saying in the restaurant business saying, don't sweat the small stuff, and I'm the guy going, BS. Sweat when you have small margins, sweat the small stuff.
If you're under,
yeah, right. When you're, you sweat the small stuff, and it is one-on-one stuff. I'm in restaurants sometimes that are, they're doing what we call a PPA per person average, and it'll be $40-50 a person to a PPA to eat there. It's a nice place. Mm-hmm. It's not $100 per person average like a high-end steakhouse, but that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And their servers aren't really even informed on the menu. And I start going, hey, where's your server training packet at? Well, we don't really have one. We've had a lot of the same staff, so we hire maybe 1 or 2 people a year. I'm like, okay, but what are those 1 or 2 people a year? I'm going to guess the 1 or 2 people a year in the last 2 years is probably the guy in this section over here. He started a year ago. Yeah. I'm listening to him. I feel like he started yesterday. Right. He doesn't even know how to answer questions. And they're not quizzing them on menu items. They didn't put them through a proper training. So I can sit down and write, and this is a very adaptable thing. Like in your establishment, in your size of restaurant, I think you need a 3 to 4 day, and the size of your menu and everything, a 3 to 4 day training. Mm-hmm. In some cases, you might need a 10 day for servers to go through, depending on
the complexity.
The complexity of the menu, right? Yeah, and so that's a big component of it, and it's sometimes basic stuff. You're like, if you're coming into a place like this and a server can answer better basic questions at Chili's than they can here,
right?
Then there's probably an issue,
right? Because even if the customer can't put their finger on exactly what it is, they're feeling it. They're feeling that if I'm spending X amount of dollars and I'm asking you this at this service level, there's a mismatch here, and I'm going down the road. I'm going somewhere else.
It is absolutely. It's all about expectation, right? Everything is about expectation. Like when you're a customer and you're walking into a place, it is. If you walk into a Burger King and there's someone at the counter to help you, and you've got the menu up and you're reading it, and they're taking your order, you have a certain level of expectation for that service.
And it was met, and it was good.
They're not going to knock your socks off. I mean, they're not saying they shouldn't be friendly or whatever, but they're not going to say, "Sir, have you ever actually tried the new Whopper with our new something sauce? It complements the meat real nicely, and, and those salty fries are just delicious." I mean, right? They're not. But you go into a place that is has a per person average at a certain amount, and there's some nice fish dishes. There's some things that has some cool little French names or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
but we have duck confit tonight with a raspberry coulis or whatever. You're like, cool. The server should be able to answer basic questions like, what exactly is duck confit? It's duck, and they had feet at one point.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, to be able to dig in and to go beyond, which is, again, true across all industries. What you should be doing is going beyond order taking. You know?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
And get into true selling and building that experience. And like, you know what? What are you guys? What's going on tonight? What are you doing? Why are you here? And starting to get into any of that stuff.
Sure.
And just
talk to your customers.
Yeah.
If they don't want to be engaged, then don't.
Right.
Read them.
Exactly.
If you just keep seriously, I'm asking, what are you guys doing? We're
We're
about to file for a divorce, and we're here just having a final dinner to go over details. Leave us alone. All right.
I waited on one of those tables once.
Oh, did you really?
The guy had me.
We could co-author a book about what you do.
Oh, I know. The
Go
guy
ahead.
had me at a certain point in the meal deliver the divorce papers to the wife.
Get out of here.
I swear.
Did she know that was coming?
No. That's why they were in a public place and nasty. Anyway, but I digress.
Man, that's tough. Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure we got a million.
No, there are a million stories about it. Yeah, I think everybody should wait tables for at least a month. At least.
Big time.
My daughters will. I'm going to make sure of that. It's just something.
Oh, yeah.
I think it builds character. It's hard work. It also, and quite frankly, it helps you deal with a lot of BS, right? Especially the kind of restaurants that you're going into when you don't have any experience.
Yeah.
The Chili's places and things like that. Those can be really rough because sometimes it's like, okay, you have 7 tables tonight. Right. And we're really busy. Good luck with that.
Right, exactly.
And I'm sure Chili's is fine. I'm not picking on them. I'm just trying to make it just something that's the high school entry level.
It's a grind.
Wait tables job. That's just that grind, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it gives you such perspective on the service industry. Like having that perspective in the way that you go and eat at a restaurant when you've waited tables is across the board different than
it will
you have it.
Forever change your dining experience.
For the better. I mean,
the better.
And it's so great, but also just that service. I mean, there's so many things I've taken to clients in other industries because of who I built myself as from a server, just from that service aspect and being attentive and listening and figuring all that stuff and reading people
and also
performing.
It is sort of an insane exercise in human behavior.
Yeah.
Right. On any given night to watch people in a restaurant, and that's part of what gets addictive.
Your fellow servers,
yes.
as well as the customers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had bar customers, and I still do to this day, that I know more about them than I do my own mother. And I love you, Mom. I'm just saying, but I do. I know I think they tell me things and that they don't tell their own kids. Yeah. And some people might think that's weird.
But it's awesome that you can tell someone.
I don't think it is. I think it's part. Look, exactly. I've always, when I was a kid, and this is actually very true. I think I really do trace it back to this. I was a little kid, 7, 8 years old, and my 2 favorite things to watch were the Adam West Batman 1960s reruns and Cheers.
Oh,
and Cheers.
Nice.
I was like emotionally invested in Ted Danson and Shelley Long, the Sam and Diane story when I was.
I love those.
But the bar.
Yeah. And
when everybody knows your name, when Norm would walk in, everybody, Norm, and then the drama with all the characters. I mean, that was a heightened reality. It was an 80s sitcom, but that is real.
Yeah.
Right? It is truly is. It's real, and in so many ways, and that's why I think that's kind of what made me fall in love with restaurants. You do it as like yourself. I bartended and waiting tables through college, and then in fact at Razoo's in Louisville, I went to University of North Texas.
Oh.
Yeah, I was there forever. And anyway, if you came in there between 1997 and 98, I very likely made you a gator punch or served you a etouffee or the rat toes or whatever. People out of Dallas that don't have Razoo's, did that guy just say rat toes? Google Razoo's rat toes. But Razzos. But yeah, so and then like I said, coming full circle when we first started this conversation is that you're trying to be an artist, an actor, or whatever, and it just doesn't quite work out, and you're going, man, I have all these options. I'm educated. What can I go do with my life? And you're kind of going, I'm doing it. restaurant
in the
business.
middle of it. Yeah.
I look around, you're there. Sometimes people will say, yeah, I'm doing this until I go get a real job. And I know what they mean by that. A career, something with a 401k, something with a pension plan, something with retirement. I get that. And that's obviously very valid. But I also will say, look, don't ever take this for granted. This is a real job, and it is a skill. And if you ever run into any problems in your life, and you're at a company and it folds, they sell, and you're out of a job,
but that never happens.
Never happens. Right? Everything's hunky-dory for everybody. But guess what? You can always just go do to make money.
Oh yeah.
And even if it's so just don't ever take that for granted. I always tell people, staff members, and everything, that look, for a lot of you guys, this is fleeting and temporary. I get it, but right here, right now, we're in business together. So please treat it that way.
That's awesome.
And I will treat you as a business partner as well. If you're waiting tables, you are the first line of defense.
Oh, yeah.
You are the person that's going to make this night, because food can be a little off. The environment might not be exactly what you wanted. But if you have a great server or you have great service, it will redeem the night.
Oh,
more so than any other combination of those.
Yep.
That the person on the front line is...
Right.
It's like those are your warriors.
You can have great food and crappy service, and it ruins your whole. Yeah, I mean, without a doubt.
It's one of the things I try to tell people in consulting as well, is know your staff, respect your staff, and just tell that without them, you're nothing.
Right. So, how can people track you down and get in touch with you?
Yeah. So if you need any consulting for your restaurants, you can email me at rjsrestaurantsbars@gmail.com. You can also find me there on Facebook, RJS Consulting.
Awesome.
Okay. So find me there. If you're on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, Shewrick, SHEWRICK. I'll plug my Batman stuff real quick, just in case there's a Batman nerd out there. So that's also where I keep up with a lot. I do Batman podcast, and so it's
very cool. You've interviewed.
We had Chris McKay on recently. He was the director of the Lego Batman movie.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's a cool show, man. And we talk about pop culture things. We're gonna do a Rocky podcast. We talk Star Wars. We talk Spider-Man. It's 85% Batman stuff though.
Nice.
And that's obviously pretty popular right now with all these movies coming out, like Justice League around the corner, and
as it should be.
So anyway,
Thanks so much for being on, man.
Yeah, and if you're in Dallas, please go to Nickel and Rye. If you're,
it's
a great spot. You can also email me at rick@nickelandrye.com. That's an easier one to remember.
Very cool.
Okay.
Thanks so much, man.
Jason Croft, thanks, buddy. I really enjoyed it.
All right. I'm so glad Rick was on the show. Such a blast talking with that guy. He's so good at what he does, and I definitely encourage you to reach out to him if you're a restaurant owner or you need some of that help, or you really just want to kind of up your game a little bit. I highly encourage you to reach out to Rick. I'll have all the links in the show notes there at thejasonCroft.com/Rick, RICK, and you'll be able to get in touch with him and find out how to just, have a call with him, bring him in and have him be those fresh eyes like we talk about. It's just it's an amazing thing when you have that perspective on what you've got going on. So if you like episodes like this, if you like interviews like Rick's, please do subscribe. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the podcast, jump on over to iTunes, subscribe there. Leave us a review if you will, and we'll see you on the next one.
It's Saturday night.
It was Saturday night and I'm feeling kinda silly. Winter coat on cause the air was chilly, but I'ma make my way out to the record spot. Gotta find some new breaks for the beats to rock. I gotta come with the flavor like some lifesavers. On now and later, Dr. Beatmaker. If I'm a player, it's like a tape deck. And if you miss the gig, then take a rain check. Stacks of wax piled high to the ceiling. Need a U-Haul truck if I would think about stealing, but it's not my steed, so I commence with the digging, no kidding. Something that'll keep the beats hitting what I'm getting. So much to choose from, bro.